What's up, everybody? Isaac here, Civil Engineering Academy. Excited to be with you on another podcast episode, if I can talk. I have a special guest today, RK Bob Brown. They call him the Dirt Whisperer. This guy's an expert in foundation repair. He also does forensics. He's written an awesome book that's called The Foundation Repair Secrets, Learn How to Protect Yourself and Save Thousands. And we talk about his background, what he graduated in, how he found himself into doing concrete repair jobs, as well as doing forensics, and also pairing a consulting side with actually the repair side as well. Not only that, but to teach other people, other engineers, on how to run their own business doing this themselves. So, huge advocate in promoting any geotechnical engineer or professional civil engineer into this space of foundation repair and helping you to start a business that's going to help on the commercial side or even residential side as well. So, we talk about this, we talk about his experience, all things foundations, and I think you're really going to enjoy this interview with RK Bob Brown. I know I enjoyed it, and it's going to be coming up right after this. See you in a minute. All right, we are rocking and rolling. Bob, thank you for joining me on the Civil Engineering Academy podcast. I appreciate you doing this with me.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I always love to start these out just asking how you found yourself into this world of civil engineering, but maybe describe how that happened and kind of where you're at right now. What do you do?
Sure. I graduated from ASU, Arizona State University, in architecture and in finance. And I started, while I was in college, I was doing concrete repairs, and it was going well, so I just kept doing it. And it worked out well for me. I eventually worked my way into foundation repairs. And one of the things I sort of figured out, I didn't really understand how to diagnose foundations. You know, my supplier, like all of those suppliers of helical pier products, taught me the business. And I started thinking, it's not quite right. It's not as simple as they say it is. And, I'm asking my salesmen to go out and diagnose this stuff, and they're really not qualified. I started, I knew a lot of engineers from being an architect and all that kind of stuff. And so I just started talking to them and listening to them. And eventually I started a forensic civil engineering company that does diagnosis for residential foundation repairs. And I put that alongside my company so that it could be diagnosed properly. And that's how I got into the business.
Wow, that's awesome. And take us through schooling a little bit. Did you have to, you knew you wanted civil engineers involved? You are a civil engineer. What's gone through your schooling?
I'm a civil engineer. I have a degree in architecture from ASU. And my idea was to be a real estate developer, but I graduated with no money, worked my way through college. So that really didn't work out all that good. And I had the concrete repair business, so I just kept it going. And it sort of worked out for me in the end, in the long run. But I took kind of a circuitous route to get there, I guess, is the best way to think about it.
Wow. So in your adventure in learning how to do concrete repair, what helped you the most to understand how to do that?
Well, I was always concerned about, before we fix something, we need to understand the causation, the failure mechanism. And I've always been focused on that, even right from the very beginning, because I wanted to offer something that would work in the long run for people. I just didn't want to give them Band-Aids, right? Mm-hmm. And so I basically read up, went to seminars, all throughout my time as a foundation repair and concrete repair company. And that same sort of logic bled over into the foundation repair world. And I think if most engineers really understood how the foundation repair industry works, they would be shocked and really horrified, I think, because what you have is people that the only education they have is a 2-day seminar from their single source supplier, and they're going out and doing engineering work. They're basically diagnosing soil mechanics and soil foundation interactions. And then they're specifying, designing repair products for a structural system, the foundation system, all without a license, which is amazing that it still flies in today's world, but it does.
Yeah, that's a little scary. So walk me through the business you have, and some of the products or services that you're offering.
Okay, so I sold my foundation repair business and my forensic engineering business all in December of 22.
Okay.
And I kept all of my intellectual property. So I have a number of patents that I developed over the years for foundation repair products, as well as during the course of running our forensic engineering service, we developed software that would make it more efficient and easier. And we've improved on that software. I've spent a tremendous amount of money and time. And the thinking is that we want to give engineers tools to be able to offer a good foundation assessment without having to spend a lot of time. And part of the problem is that engineers feel like in order to do it right and put their stamp on it and feel comfortable with that, they need to go to the property. And if they do that, they're going to price themselves out of the market. And they're competing with foundation repair companies who charge nothing. And then they do a really crappy, kind of analysis that doesn't really count for anything, but it's still free, right? And you can't have free compete with $3,000. That doesn't compute in people's brains. But if you can offer it for under $1,000, that sort of competes with free. You can make the argument that it's worth it for them to do that, right? And so what I've been trying to do is help engineers get into this space. A lot of them feel like, it's risky, which is wrong. It's not risky. It's risky to do new construction residential. It's not risky to do one-off forensics for homeowners. We never got sued. I know lots of contractors who are engineers who were in it for 20 years and maybe got sued once or something. It's just, it's not a risky business. So we have to kind of deal with those issues. But in addition to that, we need to help engineers compete in this space, help them with marketing, help them with tools to be effective. And part of that is the software that we've developed. If you can send out a well-trained technician out into the field and monitor his progress while he's doing the work remotely, now you've got something that the engineer can feel comfortable about, right? You can say, hey, go back and check this one elevation here. This doesn't look right. It's a little odd. Do me a favor and go check it again. And if it checks out right, check the spaces between that and the nearest elevations to see where why it all of a sudden just peaks and nothing else does around it, right? Or you can say, hey, it's really low on this part of the house, but there's no damage. Go over there and look at it real carefully. Maybe see if you can find some damage over there, And that way engineers can be a part of the process without having to spend a tremendous amount of time. And so that's what we're doing. We're providing tools for engineers to be able to compete in this space and hopefully make the public better off, because the public is not being properly served. Civil engineers are supposed to, the ethics are that to keep, they're supposed to watch out for the health, safety, and welfare of the public, right? Well, everybody forgets about the welfare part. Well, the welfare part also means make sure that the public is not being taken, and they are being taken. And so this is an area where we need engineers to go into. They need to fill this space and fill it properly so that those that are unqualified and have severe conflicts of interest, and what I mean by that, every foundation repair salesman is 100% commissioned. So you can imagine what their motivation is for finding things that are wrong, right? Everything, right? And how bad is it? It's all horrible. It's all, severity is, all just a subjective opinion. it's not right. It's not the way this space should be operating. We need engineers to do it right.
Well, it makes me wonder, as you're talking about this and your years of experience, what are some of the most common foundation issues that you've seen in your experience? Maybe you have a story about a fun project, but I'm just curious what you've personally seen.
I've got all kinds of projects, everything from industrial, commercial. I had a building that settled 15 and a half inches and was settling it at a half inch a month. But I will tell you that, if we're talking about related to issues related to what we were talking about, lots of examples of that as well. So, part of the issue is everybody just thinks that everything's settling, right? But that's not really true. Expansive soils can heave upwards if they get wetted. And it does happen quite often, especially in more arid climates. And that gets mixed up with settlement all the time. So you got a dome heave in the middle of a house. I've seen it a million times. And people think, oh, well, it's settling on the edge because it's lower on the edge than it is the middle, right? Well, not necessarily. The middle could be going up. And like, what do you mean the middle could be going up? Oh, it could be heaving in the middle. Oof. Well, foundation repair sales guys, they get that mixed up all the time. If you're standing in a room, you can't tell the difference just by standing there looking at it. And they'll tell people, oh, yeah, we're smarter than engineers. We've been doing this for 30 years, but they're not. I mean, they've just been doing it wrong for 30 years, and I see heave and settlement mixed up all the time. Sometimes it's very difficult. You have to do a lot of work to you need to understand all the soil mechanisms and a lot of things. I mean, you can't just do it in a couple hour visit in a home. It doesn't translate. It doesn't work right. Too many mistakes.
Yeah. And, there's so many issues that can pop up with foundations. As a homeowner myself, I see stuff that happens all the time. So, I'm sure the experience that you've had has been good for you, and I'll open the door to everything you have going on. But I'm curious, what are your thoughts then? We're encouraging engineers to get out there to start their own business. What do you think it takes for an engineer in our audience to head this route and actually start a business of their own to work on foundation repair?
Well, I've done that with a number of engineers, help them get started in this space. And, I help them everything from soup to nuts, how to incorporate, how to get their marketing, how to get a website built that's going to work, right? A lot of people think, you put up a website, just get with Wix and pick your colors and whatever. No, that might get you a website, but it's not going to get you found, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you gotta design a website that has proper SEO and the right structure, and if you want to be found, you got to do it right. And that takes a little bit of money, a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, right? Engineers are typically not very good at marketing. A lot of them don't even know what a Google business page is, and the fact that it's free, and how to make it rank, or anything else, right? All the things that engineers need to know, best practices, how to hire the right people, how to make sure that they're right for the job, right? And especially for a specific job, right? All those things are super important to know. I've got a bunch of engineers started. It's engineers are typically risk averse by nature, right? They're not going to be typically entrepreneurs, but the few that are can be very, very good at this. And this could be a lucrative field. Engineers can do well in this business, and it's relatively risk free. So it's a nice way to make a living without a lot of risk.
Have you seen people starting this almost as a side hustle, or are they jumping all in?
I've seen both. I've seen some engineers have, some of them do small consulting things for insurance companies or whatever, and some are like geotechs, the small geotech firms that just do boutique work, right? So forensic ones. This is a perfect opportunity for those guys. I mean, they're already 90% of the way there, right? Big firms. I've seen a few big firms do this as kind of a side. Okay, we're gonna offer this service in conjunction with everything else we do, and like for a geotech, every once in a while it turns into, hey, this is a tricky one. We're going to need to go out and do borings, and of course, that's additional income, right?
Yep. Well, for those that say just own a home, what are some regular maintenance things that maybe they could do to ensure that things are okay with their house?
Right. Well, it depends on your geography, right? So, like if you're in Houston, you should probably put a soaker around your house with a timer and regularly water it. You would never do that in Arizona. That would be like suicide. In Arizona, it's all about getting water away. And so, again, you need good geotechnical advice is for your geography and what are the things you can do. But a lot of it has to do with maintaining water. You want to have water as a constant. You don't want big changes in water. You don't want water coming in all of a sudden. You don't want water leaving all of a sudden. You want to maintain kind of what it's been going on for the last couple 100,000 years, right? Because that's what the water moisture is in that area.
Makes sense. So I'm in Utah. What are some things you think I should do? Similar to Arizona?
Well, Utah does get snow, and snow melts slowly, right? And so it soaks into the ground a little bit more. So you want to look at your trees. I've seen houses kind of in up in the northern areas where you have large pine trees or some other large tree right next to the house, and in the winter the snow melts slowly and soaks into the ground, and in the summer the trees suck all the moisture back out again. Well, you get this cycling business going on. You can go up and down, and that will eventually cause problems at a house. So you want to make sure you manage that. Like I said, the consistency of the water. You might want to have gutters with drains, to drain the water away from the house, so that it doesn't get overwhelmed in the wintertime. And then in the summertime, you might want to maybe have soakers or something by the trees that will encourage the roots to go someplace besides under your house to look for water, right?
I like that idea. They always seem to find their way under driveways and cause havoc there too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, lift it up. Yep, all that kind of stuff. I've seen it. I've seen trees 8 inches in diameter break up a footing like nothing.
Really?
Yeah.
So describe to us, sometimes people in homes, they'll see they have a crack maybe in their foundation. We have basements here in Utah where maybe there's a crack in the foundation. Are cracks something everyone should be concerned about? Should we address those only if there is a problem? What have you seen around cracking of foundations?
Well, with our engineers, we typically help them realize that, and most of them already do. It's a pattern that you look for. Like if somebody just has a crack, it's probably unless it's a really huge crack, it's probably not a big deal, right? You want to look for a pattern. You want to look for doors that are pinched, that maybe go along with cracks, cracks in walls, cracks in floors, slopes floors, maybe windows out of square, right, that don't operate. If you see a pattern of these things happening in a certain area of the house, then you probably know you got something going on, right? So you look for the pattern. And one of the things that we help engineers with the software is to do what we call a floor level survey. So we'll take a manometer and go around and maybe 5 to 7 feet on center, read the elevations of the entire floor, including the perimeter near the footings, And that helps you figure out a pattern. Okay, is it relatively flat with one part dropping off? You got a high spot in the middle. What's going on? And then all the damages in the high area, or all the damages in the low area. You put a damage map on top of the topo, and now things start to make more sense, right? You start to take pictures and number them and put them on the floor plan, so you can go, yeah, there's a crack here, right here in the kitchen. Let's take a look at that. Oh my God, that's huge. Then you start to understand what's going on, right?
Yeah, give you the bigger picture.
Right.
I love it. Well, this has been fun. Just talking about foundations, what you do, what you've done. Where can engineers get more information on the tools that you're talking about, or even contact you to learn more about starting a business in this field?
Well, I wrote a book a while back called Foundation Repair Secrets, and I have a website by the same name. So if you Google that, you will find me. And you can find my book, and it's a really kind of a good how-to to get started. But we can help engineers. I'm not concerned that I have to have a job that pays anymore. I've done really well in selling my business and investing over the years. I just want to help people fix this space. And so I'll usually try to help engineers, guide them, give them best suggestions, best practices. And you can reach me on my website. You can contact me through that place. There's a contact form. And that's the easiest and best way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure we leave all those links, where to get the book, your website, all of this fun stuff. It sounds like there's a huge need. I know personally, I'm always observing how many people take their professional engineering exams. And I've noticed that the geotechnical PE exam always has the lowest number of engineers that go through and take that exam. And I'm not saying that may be a correlation to the difficulty of the topic or interest, but it's probably the interest. But if there's anything we can do to drum up interest into the geotechnical field, and this is definitely one of those spots that you could dive into. And It sounds like you could get living.
A lot of engineers, most of them, go into infrastructure things, freeways, dams, sewer systems, water systems, roads, all that kind of stuff. Some commercial buildings. Very few go into residential, and very few even still go into forensics. And it's not as well thought of. People don't typically think of that, but it's a great little niche that you can carve out for yourself, and it's not doing the same thing as a gajillion other people, right? And you can try to make the world a little bit better place, because there's a huge need for this, for guys to try to help the public that's kind of being, as I say to homeowners, don't get nailed by somebody who only has a hammer for a tool, right? Which is happening a lot right now.
Awesome. Well, RK, this has been really fun. Thank you for joining me on the podcast and sharing your wisdom with us. And we'll make sure we leave everybody these links so they can get a hold of you and hopefully dive into this foundation business. Any last piece of advice for anyone out there?
Nope. Just let's all try to make the world a better place. That's what it's all about.
Sounds good. Thank you, and we'll maybe see you in the future.
All righty. Thanks very much.
All right. Bye.